So now I think that it's time to begin to have a little more understanding of reality. Because you see that we talk about reality. So before going on to any kind of reality, that can be the understanding of the word that we have heard so many times long ago. But it's time to begin again, to start again, to have a little more understanding. So now it's easy to say the word nama and rupa, but the reality, the nature of anama right now. For example, there must be a reality which experiences an object right now, right? We don't talk about anything yet. Just the reality which experiences an object is there now. We don't think about seeing or hearing or hardness or softness, just a reality which is real right now. Is there a reality which experiences an object right now? It's not easy at all to think about the reality which sees or hears, the reality which experiences an object. But what about the characteristic of the pure reality which arises and experiences an object, not seeing yet, not hearing it? Is there a reality, no matter when and where, arises and experiences an object? Otherwise, we just think about the moment when there is seeing, that there must be a reality which experiences that which is seen and that which is heard at the moment when there is seeing and hearing. But without those moments, what about the nature of that which arises and experiences an object from birth to death, non-stop? Mm-hmm. And that is the moment of beginning to understand the nature of that which arises and experiences object only. Not at the moment when it sees or hears, but without seeing and hearing. It's there. Beginning to understand the distinction between the reality which experiences the object. No matter when it arises, it has to experience an object. And the object which is experienced, no matter it's seen or not. And it's there to be known when there's nothing appearing with it. It's the beginning to get closer and closer to understand the nature which experiences an object, never lost from birth to death. Anytime, any moment, different ones. But no matter what and when, it's the reality itself arises and experiences an object. But when it's known, the object is not sound or sight or anything. It's now understanding, beginning to get closer and closer to understand the reality which experiences an object. That nothing with it at all. Only the moment of experiencing an object is real in that very moment, because it performs a function of experiences an object. So it's not just the word. Seeing is nama, and that which is seen is rupa. That's the word. But the understanding of the reality which experiences an object all the time is not known yet. So each word of the enlightenment has to be considered again and again in order to understand the truth of a reality. Right now, is there any understanding that there is a reality which experiences an object? And the object which impinges on the eye base and ear base and so on, the five sense door, condition a moment of experiencing that which is different from when it does not experience such objects. Without careful consideration of the truth, it's impossible to get closer to understand the reality which experience an object only. Whenever it arises, its function is just experience an object. For example, at moment of birth, there must be the reality which arises and experiences the object, even the object is not known. So even now, even the object is known or appear or not, there must be the reality which arises and experiences an object. And the object is different when the different reality impinges on the base, like eye base, for example. Is it a little more understanding of what is there which is so close, so very close, that ignorance cannot understand it at all? Otherwise, at moment of seeing or hearing, it's just the idea that the seeing is a reality and the object which is seen is a reality. Without beginning to get closer to understand the reality which experiences an object right now, it's hidden. So each word of the Buddha conditioned the understanding at the very beginning and then go on with more consideration about its truth until it can get closer to understand even just one word like Dhamma or citta or cetasika or rupa or nibbana. That's why there can be the moment of considering what is there little by little when there's more hearing and understanding of a reality, no matter if it's nama or rupa. Otherwise, there can just be talking about it, but without understanding the reality which is there at that very moment. For example, talking about seeing. Is there any understanding of that which sees as just the reality which experiences an object, but at that very moment, the object is that which is seen? So only understanding that seeing is that which sees and the object which is seen is not enough at all. And this is the way to understand what Buddha said after his enlightenment. All dhammas are so very subtle. And all dhammas are in daily life. Seeing itself is subtle, and that which is seen is also subtle. Even there are different realities, they are all subtle. If there is no confidence of the truth of realities, and they are so very subtle, how can there be the understanding of that which is there now as it is? So what is seen is a reality which sees. Is that enough? Buddha didn't teach in order that anyone would just remember or understand the word, but begin to see the subtlety of dhammas, of the world, of the way it appears, not as it is. And a little more understanding is the beginning, is another step of understanding, little by little, very, very gradually. For example, right now, there is a little more understanding of the subtlety of that which now experiences an object, that it is different from moment when it sees or hears, which experience different object. That's all. Is there any moment without the reality which experiences an object? No answer? Is it known? What moment?
No.
But is there any moment unknown when there's not enough understanding. But it can be known gradually, so very gradually, to let go doubt about it and ignorance about it and attachment, try to know it. They are there as no one or Dhammas that we begin to learn to understand the reality which is not known. But when it's there, can it be known or not yet? So we begin again a little more understanding on and on and on to get closer and closer to what is there now, even it now experiences an object. Is there now for sure whether it's known or not yet? And when there is the understanding of the nature of that which arises and experiences an object, there can be understanding no matter of what kind of reality is right there by conditions. But when there is no a little more understanding of the truth, it keeps on thinking about this and that, understanding intellectually about what is there now, but not understanding the nature of it at all. That's why in order to understand any reality, just consider the truth of it, just one at a time, one reality at a time. For example, the reality which experience an object, the chief of experiencing the object is there all the time. Does anyone know it yet?
No.
But from now on, the understanding develops about there must be a reality right now, or any time in life, from birth to death, arising and experience an object. The chief of experience, what is there? So the world is known by that which is the chief of experiencing reality, a reality or an object. Understanding the characteristic of a reality which is the chief of experiencing what we take for the whole world or just a reality. And we call that citta, different from other reality which arises and experiences the object, but not all the time as the chief reality which experiences the object from moment to moment. And without understanding the characteristic of the chief of reality which experiences an object, can there be cittanupassana satipatthana? That's why hearing any word and thinking there is understanding of that word is not enough. Because each word of the teachings of the Buddha represent a reality which is there right now, which is not known until it's known little by little to realize the truth, the absolute truth, the ultimate truth of whatever arises elsewhere. When there's no clear understanding of what is there now as it is, can there be the understanding of the term Nibbana? Just the word Nibbana, can there be the understanding of it without understanding what is there now? So what is there at moment of thinking about the word Nibbana? No understanding, but just wanting to hear about it. Is that the purpose of the teachings of the Buddha? Is that the way to respect the truth? The teaching